I can certainly relate to that because I don't know if you've watched the podcast. I've been sectioned as well. Obviously for my own health, but for other people's as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, I mean, what did you take from that? Obviously, you've got the tools now that you can implement. But what happened after you were sectioned?
So look, I was, as I said, it was diagnosed as drug-induced psychosis. Definitely wasn't drug-induced psychosis. The drugs contribute to it, but I hadn't smoked a joint in about a month, so giving up it was more the problem than the lack of sleep from giving up too quick. But after it happened, they just put me on so heavy drugs, really, really, really heavy drugs. So it put me into a massive depression. So I couldn't even leave. I went back to my mum's house, stayed in the box room. I couldn't even leave the bedroom. Like, I couldn't even speak to my friend on the phone. My anxiety was so high, I couldn't even speak to friends on the phone. The first time that happened took about 18 months before I could even start introducing myself back into society. Second time it happened took about a year to get over it. Third time it happened, I knew the routine and I knew myself a lot better, and I'd already started personal development stuff anyway. I just thought, right, I need to just go a bit more deeper on the personal development stuff and remove my ego to think I'm powerful enough to just power through it now, kind of thing. But lessons I learned from it's unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Just in myself, in my own journey, in myself, how to manage myself, how to manage my well-being, the signs of that. So yeah, as bad as it was at the time, when I look back at it, is it a path that I would get rid of? I don't know. I'd love to know them lessons without doing what I had to do for it, but yeah, it's been really powerful.
So I would imagine that you've had some kind of therapy.
I didn't know.
Is that not something they offered?
Yeah, they did offer it, but I was resistant to it, to be fair. At the time, I was just like, no, I don't want it. I was really resistant to the whole thing. Like, when they sectioned me, I was like, I'm not taking no drugs. I don't like, if I put drugs in my system, I just got given a espresso, anything too much. I've got high energy anyway. So you put anything in my system, I can feel it like, I don't know, I can feel the difference in my, like, I don't know, in my chemistry inside me, if you'd like to say it. So I was really resistant to the whole thing. When they sectioned me, I was really like against it. Like, I'm not taking these drugs, like literally throwing them. I'm saying, fuck off, I'm not taking them. But they got the rubber cosh in there, and I see them like put a few people in them arm locks and like get them down and inject them. So I'm like, okay, go on then. Like, you're not. I kind of puffed my chest up to try and get them to stop me from taking them, and they was not listening. So it's like, fair enough, this gives.
I've had that jab, mate. It ain't nice.
Yeah, I actually pulled away just the very last minute of when they're coming with it. You can see they're coming with it. It's out ready. Yeah. You're gonna take it now. Oh, go on then. but yeah, I lost my train of thought where he was with that original question. But
therapy.
Therapy. Yeah, no therapy from it. Self therapy. I really dug deep. So in 2014, when I left school, I was dyslexic as well. So never read a book when I was at school. And just before this happened, so in 2010, I said, look, I really want to learn to read. I feel there's a power in reading. I want to learn to read. It took me 5 years to get to some sort of level of reading. But I read my first book in 2009, cover to cover. And that was part of it. In 2014, I was just starting to get momentum with reading. And then I overconsumed too much knowledge. Like, it blew my mind. I was up all night thinking, oh, I could do this, I could do that, do this, do that. And again, sleep deprivation and back to where we was. But yeah, I've got a life coach once, didn't really work well with it. They put me into therapists, but I was resistant, so I didn't really go along with what they said. So I just learned the hard way. I went into a big, deep depression for a while, then just slowly integrated myself back into society. But then I've just geeked out on books, like really, really geeked out on books. And the science behind it. So the neuroscience behind the different things. So meditation, mindfulness, breath work, just different like biohacking stuff, different diets, different foods, and then tested, like, been a guinea pig to myself. Like, I'm like, okay, if I eat this, I will get to sleep like this. If I exercise this much, I'll have this. And I know where my levels are at. And do I get it perfect all the time? Absolutely not. It drifts. Life gets in the way. Like we said, I've got a young kid. Sometimes that drifts, this drifts. But what I've learned is, if you think of it like a wheel, there's foundations behind this. I'm like, okay, this is my sleep, this is my diet, this is my exercise, this is my relationships, this is my business, all these things like a wheel. And none of them will be perfectly at the edge of the wheel. But every now and again, if one shrinks in, I know my wheels, as it's going around, is clinking. So it's just awareness. Like in my values, like number one of my values is time, number two is awareness. So with that, it's like, I need to be aware when I'm off my equilibrium, because I can't keep them all perfect all the time. There's no way, like when I'm getting perfect on my business, my sleep might be out a little bit. If I'm perfect on my sleep, my gym might be out because I'm slept in too long. There's never all of them are perfect at the same time, but it's the awareness to know that's out. And what I need to do is I can't repair that straight away today, but I need to think, what is my game plan towards getting my sleep back? Or what's my game plan towards getting my routine from a gym or my diet back to where I want it to be? Because it never goes terrible, but it's never always perfect kind of thing. So yeah, but no therapy, even though I probably should have had it, but I didn't.
Now, obviously, you're an ambitious person. How do you manage the expectations of the ambition?
Really good question. So manage your expectations of your ambition. Do you know what? One of my big markers in myself is sleep. So I'm not going to trade off money for my well-being. So I want money. Money is really enjoyable. I think money, once you get to a certain level of money, it's more of a barometer of the enjoyment of what you're doing than it is like the actual money anymore. But I do enjoy it, and I don't care what anybody says. Money's super important in life. Like what was it? I heard Deepak Chopra say this. He said, money doesn't guarantee happiness, but poverty guarantees misery. So everybody's got a moral obligation to themselves to make sure they've got enough money to live comfortably. And there's three different levels of security within money. So people say, I want to be financially free. There's three different levels. There's financial security, financial independence, and financial freedom. Security, every single person in the world today should be at bare minimum security. That's when you save at least 10% of what you earn, put it into some sort of asset that compounds, and then compound that back in. Even whether it's just a tracker fund within the stock market, or it's a good pension. Most of them are not good, but it's a good pension. You should at least put in 10% of what you earn. So then you live financially secure and you can retire without worrying. Financial independence is the next level up. That's the sort of barrier I'm in. I've got enough properties to be independent where I could go traveling for a year if I wanted to. But I'm still not at financial freedoms. Like you can buy a yacht, you can buy a jet. That's completely financial freedom. What people don't understand is each level up as well, it comes with a different level of responsibility. You cannot get to financial freedom or independence without taking on more responsibility. Every level you go up, you need staff, you need people. And as soon as you get staff and people involved with something, it comes with more pressure and response. Like off a camera, we're saying this. The buck still stops with you. The fault still stops with you. If somebody doesn't tick a box off within their KPIs or something happens, the responsibility all lands on your head and your shoulders. So how I manage my ambition is, if I'm not sleeping at night for too many nights because my mind is just too busy, or my boy is talking to me and I'm like, what'd you say? What'd you say? They're the biomarkers in me to go, do you know what? I'm taking on too much. So I kind of realise I want to be ambitious. I want to grow. I think fulfillment is in growth. You've got to always be pushing yourself out your comfort zone, but you've got to get that pace right with not taking too many trade-offs for that.
I think it's very important for people to realise as well, everyone's financial security, independence and freedom will be different. So you just mentioned a yacht there for yourself. That's your level of financial freedom. That may not be for the next person or the person listening to this. You may only need 10 grand a month. That seems to be the magic number now.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
I need 10 grand a month to be financially free. You don't actually. You've got a money management issue if you can't live off around about, I would say, 5.
Yeah.
Well, probably not now with inflation, but especially with the base rate at the minute. However, if you're, like you said, if you're not investing that money and compounding it over time, you probably could live off about 5 grand a month.